Everyone here, I think, deserves a medal for braving that storm on their way in, that rain. Rain that hopefully is a little bit of blessing for us as we start our Shabbat. Rain that maybe brings a Shabbat filled with peace or hope or something. We need it. We lift our voices on Shabbat to bring in a different kind of mode, Shabbat mode, to bring our spirits a little bit higher and to join together in song and be able to welcome the Shabbat. Here we go. Hava Nashira. Let us raise our voices on your supplemental sheet. Hava Nashira, Hava Nashira, Hava Nashira, let us sing. Hava Nashira, Hava Nashira, Hava Nashira, let us sing. Come let us sing, come let us sing, come let us sing, Hava Nashira, come let us sing, come let us sing, come let us sing, Hava Nashira, Hava Nashira, Hava Nashira, Hava Nashira, let us sing. Hava Nashira, Hava Nashira, Hava Nashira, let us sing. You feeling elevated yet? A little bit? You gotta release the voice here. Deep breath, let's go again. Hava Nashira, Hava Nashira, Hava Nashira, let us sing. Hava Nashira, Hava Nashira, Hava Nashira, let us sing. Come let us sing, come let us sing, come let us sing, Hava Nashira, come let us sing, come let us sing, come let us sing, Hava Nashira. Hava Nashira, Hava Nashira, Hava Nashira, let us sing. Hava Nashira, Hava Nashira, Hava Nashira, let us sing. We welcome our member Donna Weingarten to light our Shabbat candles as we elevate ourselves just a bit higher. Looking for that light, looking for that hope, looking for that flame, to be able to lift us up. Appreciate that we're here. The blessing over candles, page 2, and we rise. Eloheinu melech haolam asher kidshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lehadlik ner shel Shabbat. Wish you strength as you observe your husband Stanley's yard site tonight, and may his memory always be a source of blessing and comfort and all good things to you. You may be seated as we continue this Shabbat spirit, Lechu Naranana, the second song. Ooh, it's not on there. I left that one out, didn't I? I was tricky, I think. No, I didn't. It's on the bottom of the front page. Lechu Naranana. Lechu Meranena, Yai Lai Lai Lai, Lahadona, Yai Lai 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 Lai, Nahariya, Yai Lai Lai Lai, Litzur Yishenu. Let us sing out to God, the maker of all, sure and strong. Let all of creation from mountain to sea hear our song. Lechu neranena, la 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 la, la. hear God's voice. Lechu neranana, ya la 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 la, Adonai, ya la 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 la, Nahariya, ya la 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 la, Litzoyishenu, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la. Janet's off enjoying her family right now in Virginia, and I'm realizing there's a lot to do here. There's a lot to keep us busy, but this is a day when we're supposed to let some of that busyness go. We're supposed to relax a little bit, and so as we open our Mishkan Tefillah prayer books, let's open up to page 9, where we'll read responsively at the top. There are days when we seek things for ourselves and measure failure by what we do not gain. On Shabbat, we seek not to acquire, but to share. There are days when we exploit nature as if it were a horn of plenty that can never be exhausted. On Shabbat, we stand in wonder before the mystery of creation. There are days when we act as if we cared nothing for the rights of others. On Shabbat, we remember that justice is our duty and a better world our goal. So we embrace Shabbat, day of rest, day of wonder, day of peace. We continue in our prayer books, page 20, as we welcome the Sabbath bride with Lecha Dodi. This is a fast one. Let's see if we can do this here. Try this part. Yeah. Here we go. I'll get there. Oh, we'll just go for it. Lecha Dodi likrat kala. You got it. Penei Shabbat nekabela. Should we try that? That's the one I want to try again. Here we go. Lecha Dodi likrat kala. Penei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha Dodi likrat kala. Penei Shabbat nekabela. Shabu v'zacho b'dibrecha. המיוחד אדוני אחד ושמו אחד ושם לא תפארת ותהילה לך דודי לקראת כלה פני שבת נקבלה לך דודי לקראת כלה פני שבת נקבלה לקראת שבת לכו ונחה כי מקור הברכה מראש מקדם נסוכה סוף מעשה במחשבה תחילה לך דודי לקראת כלה פני שבת נקבלה לך דודי לקראת כלה פני שבת נקבלה. Verse 5, Hitoreri, Kiva ore, Kumi ori, ori, Shirdaberi, Kevon Adonai alaich, Nigla lecha dodi, Likrat kala, Peni Shabbat, Nekabela, lecha dodi, Likrat kala, Peni Shabbat, Nekabela. We rise and face the door to welcome the bride. Boi v'shalom ateret bala, gam b'simcha u'b'tzola, toch emunei am segula. Boi chala, lecha dodi, likrat kala. Lecha page 26. Yitkadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabbah, be'amad yivrach rutei v'yamlich malchutei, v'chayechon uvyomechon, uchayedecho beit Yisrael, bagala, uvizman kariv imeru, amen. Yehi shmei Rabbah mevorach, le'olam u'lo mehamaya, yitbarach v'yishtabach, yitpar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh, v'yithadar v'yitale v'yithalal, shemei dekudesha parichu, le'lamin kol bechata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechemata, damihiran be'amah, v'imeru, amen. And we rise once again as we enter into Shema V'Yirateha, the Shema and its blessing with the Baruch Hu. La 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 la, la 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 la, la 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 la, la 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 la, la 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 la. La 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la. Baruch hu et Adonai hamevorach, Baruch Adonai hamevorach, hamevorach le'olam va'ed, hamevorach, hamevorach le'olam va'ed. We continue together at the top of page 4. The top of page 31. Praise to you, Adonai our God, from whom the evening flows. Your wisdom sets the way on which time and season glide. Your breath guides the sail of the stars. Creator of the tide of time and light, you guide the current of day into night. Its heaven spans to infinity. You set its course for eternity. Praise to you, Adonai, from whom the evening flows. Baruch ata Adonai, hama'ariv aravim. Ahavat olam, Beit Yisrael. Torah u'mitzvot, chukim u'mishpatim, otanu limadeta, al ken Adonai Eloheinu b'shofenu, Ukumenu nasiach bechukecha, v'nismach b'divrei Toratecha, u'v'mitzvotecha le'olam va'ed, ki hem chayenu, ve'orech yameinu, u'vahem negei yomam v'layla, negei yomam v'layla, ve'ahavatcha al tasir, mimenu le'olamim, Baruch atah Adonai, ohev amo Yisrael, ohev Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad. 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 Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto Leolam Va'ed. Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto Leolam Va'ed. Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad. Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad. You may be seated. Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha bechol levavcha ubechol nafshecha ubechol meodecha v'hayu hadvarim ha'ele asher anochi mitzavecha hayom al levavecha Vishinantam levanecha, v'dibarta pam, b'shivtecha b'veitecha, uvlechtecha v'derech, uvshochbecha uvkumecha, ukshartam leot al yadecha, v'hayulatotafot b'neinecha, uchtavtam, amizuzot beitecha, Uvisharecha leman tizkeru vasitem et kol mitzvotai vitem kedoshim lelohechem ani Adonai Elohechem asher hotzeiti etam me'eretz Mitzrayim liot lachem Elohim Ani Adonai Elohechem Emet. We continue with a prayer that calls for us upon the hope of redemption, the promise of redemption. We continue responsively at the middle of page 39. In a world torn by violence and pain, a world far from wholeness and peace, give us the courage to say, Adonai, there is one God in heaven and earth. The high heavens declare your glory. May earth reveal your justice and love. From bondage in Egypt we were delivered. At Sinai we bound ourselves to your way. Inspired by prophets and instructed by sages, time and again we overcame oppressive forces. Though our failings are many and our faults are great, it has been our glory to bear witness to our God, keeping alive in dark ages your vision of a world redeemed. Let us continue to work for the day when the nations will be one and at peace. Then shall we rejoice as Israel did, singing on the shores of the sea. Mi chamocha ba'elim Adonai, mi kamocha neheda b'kodesh, Nora tehilot, Oseh Yosef Eleh. Who is like you? Who is like you, Adonai? Who is like you, Adonai? When Moses and the children crossed the sea, they sang to you with songs of joy. Who is like you, Adonai? kamocha ba'elim Adonai, mi kamocha neda b'kodesh, nora tehilot, Hoseh Yosef Elen. V'nemar, thus it is said, Kifada Adonai et Yaakov, Ugolom yad chazak mimenu, that God redeemed Jacob from a hand stronger than his own, from an oppressor's hand, from Pharaoh's, and thus we say, blessed is God, the one who redeems Israel. Baruch atah Adonai, Ga'al Yisrael. What a week it's been. How much we need our prayers, especially those of us who need to feel a sense of security in a world that feels like it's got a lot of turbulence right now. For those who need to feel a sense of shelter and peace, we hope for that. That's what this next prayer is all about. Hashkivenu. On your supplemental sheets, the bottom of the backside. Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu l'shalom V'hamideinu shomreinu l'chaim. Spread the shelter of your peace over us. Guide us in wisdom, compassion, and trust. Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu l'shalom V'hamideinu shomreinu l'chaim. Save us for the sake of your name. Shield us from hatred, sorrow, and pain. Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu l'shalom V'hamideinu shomreinu l'chaim. L'chaim. Let there be love and understanding among us. Let peace and friendship be our shelter from life's storms. Adonai, help us to walk with good companions, to live with hope in our hearts and eternity in our thoughts, that we may lie down in peace and rise up waiting to do your will. Baruch atah Adonai, hapores sukat shalom aleinu, ve'al kol amo Yisrael, ve'al Yerushalayim. In a moment, we will enter into the tefillah, the core part of our evening prayer. It begins in our books on page 46, and we'll continue together through page 52. At that juncture, you have option A, option B, option C, any option you choose. Option A, if you want to use your book, it goes through page 63 for the conclusion of the Amidah. Option B, if you want to use the words of your own heart, that works well. In part C is that you can have a seat whenever you feel ready to just continue with some quiet meditation and reflection. Right now, we're on page 46, Adonai Sifatai. Adonai Sifatai Tiftach Ufi Yagid Tehila tehillatcha Adonai sifatai tivta ufi yagi tehillatcha Adonai, open up my lips, that my mouth may declare your praise. Adonai, open up my lips, that my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu, Elohei Avotenu v'imotenu, Elohei Abraham, Elohei Yitzchak, Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol, Hagibor v'Hanora, El Elyon, Gomel Chasadim Tovim, V'konei HaKol, V'zocher Chaste Avot v'Imahot, Umebi Gula Livnei B'neihem, L'man Shemo Be'ahava, Melech Ozer U'Moshia U'Magen, Baruch Atah Adonai, Magen Abraham Be'ezrat Sarah, Atah Gibor Le'olam Adonai, Mechaye HaKol Atah Rav Lehoshia, Morid Hatal, Mechalkel Chaim Bechesed, Mechaye HaKol Berachamim Rabim, Somech Noflim Berofech Cholim, Umatir Asurim, Umekayem Emunato, Lishenei Afar, Michamocha Bal Givurot, Umido Melach, Melech Memit Umechaye, Umatzmiach Yeshua, V'ne'emanat Alechayot HaKol, Baruch Atah Adonai, Mechaye HaKol, Atah Kadosh V'Shimcha Kadosh, U'Kadoshim B'chol Yom Yihallelu Selah, Baruch Atah Adonai, Ha'el HaKadosh. Yehiyu leratzon imrefi fi והגיוני בי לפניך אדוני צורי אדוני צורי וגואלי יהיו לרצון אמרי פי והגיוני בי לפניך אדוני צורי אדוני How well we are aware that in this moment healing is needed in our world. Healing not only from all the challenges that have been going on in recent years, but healing for these horrible tragedies that have occurred in the past couple of weeks for the people of Uvalde, Texas, and those affected at Robb Elementary at the shooting on Tuesday, as well as those affected in Buffalo at Tops Market 2 Shabbats ago. We think of them and draw them into our hearts as we draw and collect together all those people in our lives, everyone in our circle of concern who's in need for healing, whether that be physical healing or spiritual healing, or maybe just a thought of love and support to help them through a difficult time. We as a congregation, we're thinking specifically of the following individuals for healing: Rick Davis, Stacy Elkin, Richard Hightow, Sally Keaton, Sheila Levine, Sandra Davidson McVitie, Riley Moore, Lloyd Suter, Laura Troche, Debbie Warner, and Steve Taub. There are others, those with us the Shabbat are thinking of for healing. Please feel free to add their name at this time, and we'll all gather them into our thoughts as well. So for all those mentioned and the many more that go unmentioned, we turn to page 253 in our prayer books as we continue with the Misha Barak prayer, our prayer for healing. Misha Barak Avotenu Mekor HaBracha Leimotenu. May the source of strength, who blessed the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say, Amen. Mishe Berach Imotenu Mekor HaBracha Le'avotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say, Amen. Shlema. We need that healing, that tikkun, that prayer so badly. As I just mentioned, 2 weeks in a row. 2 weeks we've been dealing with mass shootings that have dominated our news. And those shootings seem to come ever more frequently in ever more variety of locations. Already well over 200 mass shootings defined as shootings leading to the death of at least 4 individuals have been recorded in the United States this year. That's just from January to May. And if that fact doesn't trouble you, it should. Unfortunately, this year's mass shooting carnage is not an anomaly. Mass shootings have been on the rise since at least the expiration of the federal assault weapons ban in 2004. Locations of mass shootings have included schools, synagogues, churches, concerts, beauty parlors, workspaces, grocery stores, and more. Obstructionist behavior by politicians who benefit from the financial support of the gun lobby and their radicalized base have prevented even common sense responses like instituting universal background checks. And here I literally meant common sense in the sense that it is common, where poll after poll has shown 90%, 9 out of 10 Americans, give or take a couple percentage points, support universal background checks. Republicans, following NRA talking points, have said for years that what will stem this epidemic is more school resource officers, more security guards, more private citizens carrying concealed weapons, hardened targets, better secured doors, etc., etc. But these things were mostly present as these most recent attacks occurred and did little to stop the attacker. They pin responsibility on mentally ill, lone wolf actors, but they do nothing in the way of red flag laws, waiting periods, background checks, or otherwise to take guns out of the hands of mentally ill persons. Even the founding fathers had limited the right to bear arms to a well-regulated militia. Even former Chief Justice Warren Burger, a conservative, pointed to this discrepancy in applying the law plainly when he called the supposition that any individual has a right to bear arms, well, a fraud. The solutions are so obvious that they are banal, but Republican legislators seem unwilling to look into the mirror. Instead, they all offer their thoughts and prayers. My colleague, Rabbi Mark Asher Goodman, points out, in Judaism, if you say a prayer over something and then fail to do the requisite action that follows, like blessing bread and then not eating it, it's a bracha levatla, which is a blessing that has canceled itself. It's considered a sin. Widely available data shows a direct correlation between the number of guns in society and the presence of gun violence. No kidding. There are roughly 120 guns for every 100 individuals in the United States. The next highest large Western country is just to the north of us, Canada, with approximately 35 for every 100 individuals. And the rate of gun death in America is more than 10 times that of the next worst country, that happens to be France. Did you know that although mass shootings are what most shock and alarm us, suicide is actually the leading cause of gun-related deaths, accounting for 54%. One argues that taking guns away would not prevent a person determined to kill themselves from doing so. But this is also simply not true. In the 1990s, Australia embarked on a historic buyback program following a mass shooting a horrific one of their own. They were able to remove approximately 20%, 1/5, of the privately owned guns in their society, and suicide rates plummeted 54%. Similarly, the homicide rate decreased 42%. And these results have been replicated across a number of countries that have also taken similar measures following mass shootings. We are the only Western country that has not responded in this way. And here it continues. You know, this week in Torah, we talked a lot about what's going on in the news. This week in Torah, as we center ourselves and try to lift up this moment, we actually encounter one of the harshest moments. It's known as the tochecha, or the rebuke. It's quite long, and it is a series of curses which speak of horrific consequences for those who violate the commandments. Chief among all the commandments is the commandment to protect life, a commandment, pikuach nefesh, saving a life that can be used to violate just about any other commandment, including the Shabbat. It is a commandment, not only that, but to avoid situations that are dangerous, as well as any situation that is potentially dangerous. Only where a person's livelihood depends on their engagement in a risky activity is danger permissible for one to welcome. This is a commandment that has been used to forbid chain smoking, for example. And if we as a society took a genuine look in the mirror, it would be applied to gun ownership as well, I have no doubt. It should be a commandment for every Jew to support regulating gun ownership, period. Unfortunately, we can't control the situation on our own. And so our choice at the moment is to take the precautions we can to avoid the danger. Temple Kol Ami is increasing the amount of armed security that it will be having in the future. It's expensive. It costs money and takes money away from programs and other things that we could be doing, but it's necessary. We're also in the middle of a tedious process, I repeat, tedious, to receive the federal security grant money that so many point to. And I also acknowledge and know that I am preaching to the choir when I talk about the problem of guns in the United States. I know there is little disagreement between us, but it needs to be said. The 20th century Jewish philosopher and Rabbi Abraham Joshua Heschel teaches, it is not the task of someone else over there to change what needs to be changed. It is our task to remember that it is not someone else's responsibility to care for our neighbor. It is our responsibility to recognize that while we cannot necessarily complete the task, we are not free to abandon it. We must continue to try, even when our actions appear to make just slight differences, to avoid danger lest we find ourselves cursed. We must do all we can to protect ourselves, even when the things that would protect us most are out of reach. And we must find ways to fight for change, or else we really can't expect it to get any better. This is a season of change. This is a season of deepening. This is a season of elevating. This is a season where just a little bit each day we look to bring ourselves closer to the people that we want to be. It's a season known as the Omer, where we count 50 days between the festivals of Pesach and Shavuot. And as we continue to reach deeper spiritually and reach higher spiritually for ourselves, we turn to page 278 in our books, and we rise, preparing to recite the blessing over the Omer. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kidshanu b'mitzvotav, Vitzivanu al Sfirat HaOmer. Hayom Shnayim ve'arba'im Yom Shehem Shisha Shavuot LaOmer. Today is 42 days, which is 6 weeks of the Omer. We continue into the concluding section, the Siyum of our service, page 282. Aleinu. Aleinu l'shabeach l'adon hakol, l'tek gdula leotzer breshit, shelo asanu k'goyeh aratzot, velo samanu k'mishpachot adama, shelo sam chelkenu kahem, וגור עלינו ככל המונם, ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים, הקדוש ברוך הוא, שהוא נוטה שמיים ויוצר ארץ, ומושל עיקרו בשמיים ממעל, ושכינתו זו בגובה מרומים. הוא אלוהינו אין עוד, אמת מלכנו וזולתו, כך כתוב בתורתו. ידעת היום וידעת היום והשבות אל לבבך, כי אדוני הוא האלוהים בשמיים ממעל, ועל הארץ מתחת אין עוד. We continue together at the top of page 287. May we gain wisdom in our lives, overflowing like a river with understanding. Loved each of us for the peace we bring to others. May our deeds exceed our speech, and may we never lift up our hand but to conquer fear and doubt and despair. Rise up like the sun, O God, over all humanity. Cause light to go forth over all the lands between the seas, and light up the universe with the joy of wholeness, of freedom, and of peace. ונאמר, והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ, ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד, ושמו אחד. You may be seated as we welcome our officer, Jason Gould, to share tonight's announcements.
Shabbat Shalom, everybody. Hi, Joe. Can you hear me back? Thank you for coming and joining us on this rainy day. We appreciate you being here and enjoying services in person and on Zoom and in the internet world. The Sisterhood fundraiser is back. Chocolate and tchotchkes will take place on June 1st from 7 to 9 p.m. Live penny and silent auction, chocolate and fun for everyone. Bring your friends. See the full flyer of information in the weekly email, RSVP to Connie Silver by this evening. What does the Jewish tradition tell us about reproductive rights and public funding of religious education, both current Michigan ballot initiatives? Join us for a panel discussion consisting of a Reform rabbi, Rabbi Brent Gutman, a modern Orthodox rabbi, Rabbi Asher Lopatin, and a conservative rabbi, Rabbi Blair Nosenwish, here at TKA on Thursday, June 2nd at 7 p.m. See the full flyer in the weekly email, where you can also RSVP for the Zoom link if you'd like. Next Friday, June 3rd, join us as we honor our Volunteer of the Year, Steve Merritt. Steve is not available on the evening when we usually have this event and this honor, so we are going to honor him next Friday night. We will feature our TKA band, celebrate all of our May birthdays and anniversaries, and also welcome our new members with our new member dinner at 7 o'clock p.m., which follows our 6 o'clock p.m. service. The dinner is open to everyone, so please come, but you must RSVP to the temple office. This will be a very special Friday evening. We will be having our Shavuot Yizkor service on Sunday, June 5th at 10:15 a.m. This service will also be available online on Facebook. Save the date for SOS. TKA members are working again with South Oakland Shelter Lighthouse June 5th through 12th to help our homeless with meals. Because of the pandemic, we will not be hosting here at Temple like we usually have in past years. We will be providing meals and more in Pontiac where they are housed. Watch our weekly email for ways that you can help or get in touch with our office or Lee Schadenfels and Randy Brower. Randy Brower, of course. Wishing everyone Shabbat Shalom. Have a great Memorial Day weekend, everybody. Thank you, Rabbi.
I want to take a moment to appreciate and wish strength to my friend Jordan Wagner over there, our stream team member of the night, bringing services to those on Facebook and YouTube, to all of you who joined us in person and online for our service this evening. Thank our usher, Deb, and our board member, Jason, for the parts they played, and you as well, Donna, for lighting candles. We will welcome, let's see. Yeah, we need to do it here. What's that? Oh. Yes. I don't know why I thought we already did that, but you're right, we did not. We absolutely did not. So let's make sure that we do that. We turn our thoughts to all of those individuals who were once members of our congregation, or friends, or family of members of our congregation, and sadly are no longer with us in life. We think of them now. We are in a period of Shloshim for our former TKA custodian, Gene Ostowitz, as well as Bob Caden, a cousin of mine, our member Penina Libby Halbany, and Jordan Brooke Kaplan, daughter of our member Stephanie and Jeffrey Kaplan. I'm adding as well the name of Rabbi Stephen Sager, who I learned passed 2 weeks ago from pancreatic cancer. And he's someone who I enjoyed his presence. He was such a light, really. A mensch, a terrific rabbi, a terrific author and poet, and just a really good guy. And I will miss him and getting to see him in Israel in the summers when I go there to study. We think as well of the following individuals whose yard sites occur this calendar week. They are Edward Israel Basson, Francis Berman, Sally Chapnick, Irene Einhorn, Meyer Evanson, Morton Freer, Doris Friesen, Leo Kaplan, David Cover, Anthony Lee, Helen Levine, Milton Luco, Malva Lustig, Florence Needleman, Leonard Pryweller, Freda Rosenthal, Max Schadenfels, Maurice Schreiber, Helen Sherman, Jake Buddy Slafkin, Stanley Weingarten, and Shirley Diane Weingarten. If there are others that are being thought of for our mourners Kaddish, feel free to add them. Andrea Kennedy. So it's our custom at Temple Kol Ami that we rise in one voice of support and solidarity for all those in mourning and all those observing yard sites as we recite together the words of the mourners Kaddish, page 294. Yitgadal v'yitgadash shemei Rabbah, be'alma divrach hirutei v'yamlich malchutei, b'chayechon u'vyomechon u'chayei dechol beit Yisrael, ba'agala u'vizman kariv v'imru amen. Yehei shmei Rabbah mevorach le'olam ulamei amaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh. V'yit hadar, v'yit ale, v'yit halal, shemei dekudisha barichu, le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechamata, da'amiran be'alma v'imru amen. Yehi Shlama Rabba Min Shemaya. V'chaim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. Oseh shalom bimromav. Hu ya'aseh shalom. Aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael ve'al kol yoshvei tevel v'imru amen. Oseh shalom bimromav. Hu ya'aseh shalom. Aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael ve'imru amen. You may be seated. Nancy, do you want to help us with challah and kiddush? We'll all sing the blessing with you here. Actually, we'll recite our blessing over wine, hoping that everyone has a sweet Shabbat. Page 5 in our prayer books as the wine is uncovered and raised. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei peri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu v'shabbat kodsho be'ava uvratzon himchilanu zikaron lema'aseh b'reishit Ihu yom techila lemikra kodesh zecher letziat Mitzrayim kivanu v'charta beotanu kidashta mikol ha'amim b'shabbat kodshecha be'ahava uvratzon Hinchaltaru, Baruch atah Adonai, Mekadesh HaShabbat. Amen. L'chaim, to life. We uncover our challah as we continue with Hamotzi. Hamotzi lechem min haaretz. We give thanks to God for bread. Our voices rise in song together as our joyful prayer is said. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam hamotzi lechem min haaretz. Amen. Gotta eat it, b'tei avon. There we go. Now we're Yotze, we're not Levatla. There we go. That's what we needed to do. Our closing song, hoping for a bit of peace, as was mentioned always before earlier, and continues to be a prayer here. Page 353. Od Yavo Shalom Aleinu, let there be peace upon us. Od Yavo Shalom Aleinu. Od Yavo Shalom Aleinu, Od Yavo Shalom Aleinu ve'al kulam. Od Yavo Shalom Aleinu, Od Yavo Shalom Aleinu, Od Yavo Shalom Aleinu ve'al kulam. Salam Aleinu ve'al kol ha'olam. Salam, salam, salam Aleinu ve'al kol ha'olam. Salam, salam. Od Yavo Shalom Aleinu, Od Yavo Shalom Aleinu, Od Yavo Shalom Aleinu ve'al kulam. Od Yavo Shalom Aleinu, Od Yavo Shalom Aleinu, Od Yavo Shalom Aleinu ve'al kulam. Shabbat Shalom, everyone.